Wanted to start off by saying how much our listeners have been loving your brand new single. We've been getting requests for I Don't Want to Meet Your Mother now for a couple of weeks, and it's been amazing to be able to play this track over and over. So, congratulations.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad to hear that people are into it. That's what it's all about. Hey, so it's really nice of you to say.
Definitely. And now I understand this is a really personal track for you as well. This was a track where you actually thought right back to your first relationship. So I was wondering if you could talk our listeners through a little bit about what the song was actually about.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I wrote the song thinking back to, I grew up in a small town in Victoria, and I was thinking about back to some of my first relationships, romantic relationships, but also even friendships, and I was thinking about how I really was really good at putting up walls and pushing people away, because I think there was a part of me, a subconscious kind of part that didn't want to get stuck in any one place or with any one person. So looking back now, I can sort of see a bit of a pattern of always keeping a bit of a door open to be able to get out and explore different things in different places and different people.
And I understand also that one of your favourite moments recording happened during this song as well, where you and the producers got to shout out. Tell us a little bit about that. That must have been a bit of a highlight for you.
Yeah, it was really fun. I recorded this single and the whole EP actually that the single is from while I was in Nashville last year. I was really lucky to spend a bit of time over there, and this song was probably my favourite to put down because there's a moment in the song where we wanted to give it a big kind of a big kind of sassy vibe, I guess, and we all sort of gathered around the microphone and got to shout out the word "no" like over and over to put that down on the track. So if you listen carefully, you can hear it in the background in the bridge of that song, and it was a really fun moment.
Now, you just mentioned something I wanted to talk to you about going to Nashville. Nashville is on my bucket list to go to one day. What was it like going there and being able to record?
It was so great. I just was pinching myself the whole time, to be honest. What a crazy city. It's just full of music 24/7. Such amazing musicians doing their thing there. But at the same time, a really supportive vibe. I felt really welcomed there by everybody that I met, which was so nice. And it was just such a rush, I was going to North America for some shows and I had a bit of extra time, and I thought, wouldn't it be cool to see if I could do some recording while I'm over there? And I looked up some of the producers that had worked on some records I really loved from North American artists and got in touch with these two guys based in Nashville whose work I really admired, and I was like, oh, you know what, they're never going to get back to me, they don't know who I am, I'll never hear from them again. But yeah, it was really unexpected, but they got back to me, they were into the music, and we spent about a week together putting down these tracks.
That was a pretty big step for you to take, and it's a step that a lot of Aussie artists are probably too afraid to take. I mean, as you said, these are award-winning producers. We're talking about Jake Finch and Colin Pastor for our listeners out there. Were you nervous when you wrote to them and asked to work with them? Because, like I said, a lot of Aussie artists would never have taken that step.
Yeah, I was a little bit nervous. I guess my tactic with this stuff is always like you never know if you don't ask. The worst that's going to happen is they'll say no, and that's no big deal. But still, I was a little bit nervous, and I was probably even more a little bit intimidated when it came to actually meeting them for the first time in person and sitting down and sharing my songs with them. That's always a vulnerable moment, and it's intimidating to do that with two guys who are really so well highly regarded. But they made it really easy. They're really, really nice people. It became a really collaborative process. That was another thing. I wasn't sure how the dynamic would be, but it was very collaborative, and we worked together. We threw a lot of different ideas around. They were super welcoming, really open to trying out different things and making the record the way that I wanted it to be. So it was a really good experience.
What did you feel that they brought to your music as well? Was there something there that you felt that they really, really brought to your sound or to your music in general?
Yeah, good question. I think I've been making a bit of a transition, I guess, over the last few records. I guess the first EP I put out was quite folky in sound, lots of acoustic instruments, a kind of more of a live sound in the room. And my last EP, I was going for much more of a sort of indie rock pop vibe. And with this recording in Nashville, I really wanted to double down on that sound. And because they'd worked with some indie artists that I love from the States, like Lucy Dacus and Boy Genius, which is Phoebe Bridgers, and that great band. So I really wanted to sort of capture some of the elements of production that make those records so great. And I think a lot of that is in the production, is in the way the drums and the guitars are treated. And I think they're just so well versed in that world that they were really able to give me what I wanted in that sense.
Definitely. Last year was such a big year for you and your career. You got to play showcases as well in Canada, the USA, and Sweden. What was that trip like, especially considering the last 2 years before that we hadn't really been able to do much in our industry at all?
Yeah, it was kind of crazy actually to be traveling so much last year. As you say, after such a time of not being able to get out. I love to travel. It's like my whole life really. And so I was really, really excited to be able to get out there and play those shows in those 3 new places I'd never been before. It was a little weird to be back on a plane and back traveling long haul flights and things like that, but I think people were really excited to have an artist coming from so far away, considering we haven't been able to do that. So it was a really cool experience, and I'm excited to get out again this year.
Definitely. Now, I guess the big question is the single that we've been playing and that we've been listening to now, I Don't Want to Meet Your Mother. Is that a good example of what we can expect from the rest of the EP? And when can we expect the EP to be released?
The EP is pretty varied, actually. I've got another single coming out next month on the 17th of March. And that's got a similar sort of vibe, I suppose. Also similar themes. It's also a song about sort of running away from commitment. So I think I was doing a bit of a deep dive into that part of my life at the time. But the rest of the EP is a little bit different. There's some songs that are a little bit more earnest, I guess, a little bit. Trying to think how to describe them. A little bit less pop, I guess. But I think it all kind of fits together under the umbrella because it was all made with the same producers and I wrote the songs around similar times. I think that there's some definite threads going on through the songs, both like I guess in the themes of the songs and what they're about, but also in the sound. So yeah, I'm really excited to get it out. The full EP is going to be out on the 27th of April, so not too far away. And yeah, I just can't wait to share it with you all.
Definitely. Well, we cannot wait to hear it either. And I guess that leads to another question. What else have you got planned for this year? Are you hoping to get out and do some shows on the back of that EP as well?
Absolutely, yeah. I've got quite a lot lined up, ready to be announced pretty soon through March and April in Australia. In May, I'm heading over to Europe. I'll be doing a run of shows in Germany, which I'll be announcing soon as well. And I'm just in talks at the moment about getting back over to North America in the second half of the year. So lots of touring around this EP and definitely more throughout Australia as well over the course of the year. Everything's in the works, so yeah, keep your eyes peeled. I'm sure I'll be in your neck of the woods sometime soon.
Awesome. Well, we cannot wait to see you play live as well. But for right now, for all of our listeners, we're going to play I Don't Want to Meet Your Mother again on our show. And I guess, Anna, to finish off, what would you like to say to people out there, not only before they listen to the track again, but while they eagerly wait for your EP as well?
I mean, just thank you so much for having a listen. Keep an eye out for the next track. You can find me on all the usual places online. So connect with me if you'd like to, and I'd love to share this music with you as soon as it's ready.